Ladies and gentlemen, the world's #1 sports and recreation podcast, Cheap Heat. It's back, baby. On this, well, you're hearing this on Tuesday, September 10th, presumably. We're recording this on Monday, late Monday, September 9th. And in the role of the Miz as Dipperstein is Peter Rosenberg, because I just attempted to take Bear out for the second time post-dinner, and he wouldn't pee either time. And I think only a dog owner who like lives in an apartment building where you have to like really go through something to take the dog out understands the frustration of the dog not going to the bathroom at all. Because each time I'm doing this, it requires, I mean, Dip's walked the dog here before, just to go get a pee. You're putting on the shoes, you're walking down the hall, you're saying hello to this one, hello to that one, blah, blah, blah. And then you get outside, you pace up and down for 10 minutes, nothing. Now I have something else to do. Go back inside. I said, I'll give him another hour. Went back after another hour. And it's the most senselessly angry I get in my life. As if this little adorable animal is trying to anger me by not peeing.
Listen, he didn't say that he's not trying to anger you.
You wonder what's going through their brain when they don't pee. And then maybe he doesn't have to pee.
I get it. He doesn't have to pee.
We're forcing these animals to pee.
Yeah.
If somebody said to you, Peter, go pee. I'm taking you to the bathroom right now. You have to pee. You're not going to pee.
No, yeah, I could. Anytime.
I was going to say he might.
Anytime?
Anytime.
You could pee. Even if it's a tinkle?
Yes, anytime. I do it all the time. You know how often I get in bed and I don't have to pee because I peed 20 minutes ago, but on principle, I'm like, let me try to go one more time. I want to maximize my sleep. I do it all the time. You don't force pee?
I'm holding it in.
No, I wouldn't be able to get it done.
Really?
Yeah, I'm with Dip. It wouldn't happen.
I could go pee right now. 5 minutes later, nothing to drink. I can go pee again. No problem. Nothing's going to...
I mean, it's a superpower.
Listen, it won't be much, but in terms of satisfying my imaginary owner, it would be enough. All I'm looking for him to do is... Oh, so here's the thing. Have you seen when Bear fake pees?
Yes.
He goes to lift his leg, and when you think he's going to lift his leg, he just puts it down and keeps walking. If he's going to humor you and actually do it, even if it's very little, he fully lifts the leg. You see a little bit, and then you go back inside. But sometimes he'll just hit you with the fake, nah, I don't have to go.
I'm not feeling it today.
Oh, speaking of pee, I did something which I think you'll both appreciate, that I had never done before this weekend. I went to a friend of mine's house to watch football yesterday and tennis. And this guy always has beer at his house or whatever. So I never come empty-handed, even to a dear friend's house. I'm always bringing something. I have to really be, in dire straits not to bring something. So I go to Ralph's. I say, all right, I'll bring a 6-pack of beer. And
you paid $23 for the 6-pack, and you had a
you can't buy alcohol in the checkout line. In the self-checkout line, you have to go in the line. So people, I mean, there was lines out the wazoo for these other things. I have one thing of beer in my hand. So I put the beer down. I said, screw it. I'm still not going to come empty-handed. And I didn't want to just bring a bag of chips like I was, a teenager or whatever. So I went down to the home aisle. I grabbed an 8-pack of quilted northern toilet paper, and I said, "Who wouldn't want good toilet paper?" So I picked it up, I swiped it on the thing, I paid $20 for the toilet paper. I walk into my friend's house, who I know that's what he uses, just like me. I handed him the toilet paper. It went over big.
The only thing is, if I was full of toilet paper, like I had 8 rolls in my house, I wouldn't be as grateful as I should be. Now, if I needed it, if I was down to the last roll, I go, wow, this is something.
I replaced your toilet paper when I was there last.
You did.
Did I not?
You didn't need to. Now, listen, Dip replaced the toilet paper after he heard me joke that he used all the toilet paper, which, by the way, what?
So he doesn't
It
count.
was a joke of Jace, 1000%.
I replaced it immediately, instant. I can't have a comment like that lingering over me as a house guest. It must be replaced.
Wow, that is a fascinating gift choice. Now, by the way, conversations like this and conversations about pro wrestling can be heard on this week's Patreon episode, which was recorded. Our watch along of Monday Night Mage is up right now. Patreon.com/StayMage. If you've been thinking about joining, we had a great time watching an episode from 1995 with Bret Hart defending against Jerry the King Lawler. Really fun episode up on the Patreon right now that we recorded on the weekend. All three of us in just tremendous moods. And if you're not watching the video, SGG decided to wear his Bret Hart glasses across his forehead, which is an interesting choice here.
Listen, Bret wore it across his forehead sometimes.
Well, yeah, usually right before the match started, he might go up to forehead and let it sit for a second, then take it off.
Are you saying I need to hit one of these and just go full?
Now, what era is this from, SGG?
I believe this is like 95, 96. Because by 97, he's not doing these particular shades anymore. These are like, he goes a little bit darker. And then in the 80s, early 90s, he has like the silvery kind of shade. So this is, I think, like after he wins the world title back from Yokozuna, right before, it all goes down with him beefing with Shawn Michaels, him turning heel.
Now, by the way, these glasses remind me of a scorching hot take that that Dip sort of mocked and was sort of serious about on my Instagram stories when I posted a picture of the Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Taylor Swift, and I left the commentary, this is like the not cool vortex.
Yeah.
And I think, Dip, what was your response? Edgy? Because people risky. He said risky. No,
it was risky because you don't listen.
You listen.
The Swifties get a hold of that.
I mean, listen. Let me tell you something about Swifties. They'll be fine because guess what? They're not cool either. So they're going to be they're just fine. They are living right over there. But did anybody notice?
For the record, I don't know you anymore.
Yeah. No, I understand. Let me tell you something. I have dealt with every group of angered fans. The Swiftie hate.
You got the barbs out the way.
The Swifties are underrated. They're and by the way, it's a compliment. Saying they're underrated is a compliment. They're not psychotic in the way that others are. Like I've said many like slight disses at Taylor Swift. They don't like stalk you out and try to ruin your life. They just love her. They're not like in what I've observed, they're not angered and crazed. Do you know what I'm saying? They're just a really big fans. But I mean, did anybody notice? This is like a really tiny detail. Travis Kelce obviously went to the Gucci store 2 days before the U.S. Open and said, "Give me an outfit." And they gave him a full outfit, like pants, matching shirt, matching hat. And Brittany Mahomes did the same thing. And so Travis Kelce and Brittany Mahomes were wearing matching outfits together.
No,
yes,
I did not
notice. Nobody
that.
This is the underrated take of all. No one noticed how awkward it is that a friend and his friend's wife are wearing matching outfits to the U.S. Open.
Didn't notice it at all.
It is a strange thing. The celebrities just wearing willy-nilly luxury items. Patrick Mahomes. Oh, so the reason I thought of this whole thing is because Patrick Mahomes, his glasses are Bret Hart adjacent at all times.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Listen, Bret Hart's still setting the trends. Bret Hart's still the guy to this day.
But I mean, with all due respect, I don't know if that's the trend. And here, just for evidence's sake, so you guys know I'm not full of it, because obviously I'm crazy for noticing it. Take a good look, kids. Look close, Dip.
Oh my God, it's the same outfit.
Travis Kelce and Brittany Mahomes are wearing the same outfit. No one said a word.
Yep.
And Taylor Swift just walked into a store and said she went into a grocery store and there was a regular picnic tablecloth and she went, "I'll wear that." And they walked right out and that was it.
When
Yeah,
did this
she
become
went. She
a
got that from the
fashion
nearest Cracker
podcast?
Barrel.
We cover everything here. And
We must.
and Mahomes' glasses though, in what is since that style of glasses dip, it's so crazy to me. I want to look like a police officer in Texas. I'd like to look like the state trooper, please. The very expensive state trooper glasses. Anyways, the U.S. Open concluded this weekend. Dip spent lots of time watching it. I was a little. I'm surprised you weren't. I'm surprised you weren't as into my take on Tiafoe and Fritz as I was. I thought this was quite a revelation.
Which take?
That I said Tiafoe and Fritz are basically Andy Roddick Jace. And Andy Roddick was Agassi and Sampras Jace, which makes Tiafoe and Fritz a Jace.
Who are Agassi and Sampras adjacent to?
Well, now it's the other way. Now they're adjacent to Federer and Nadal, or you know.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Because like now they can't hold a candle to those guys. But when I think about American tennis, the last greats were Sampras and Agassi, and then Roddick won one, and everyone was like, "Oh, Roddick, he's going to be the new Agassi." He was not. He was like a blip. He was a blip plus. I'll call Roddick blip plus. And I don't know if Tiafoe and Fritz may be like blip minus, depending on what happens here. Someone's got to win something, for God's sake.
Right.
We're going to start a tennis podcast as well. There's a lot happening here. Maybe a pickleball podcast, a fashion podcast. And this, by the way, this shot of SGG, the SGG. Wait, you can't do your Roman ones up with you got to make up your mind, dude.
No. Bret was number one first. Bret was number one first.
I don't know. You abandoned Bret Hart. So let's get into it. What did you think of the Bret Hart segment from the Saddle Dome on Raw tonight?
I thought it was really good, actually. Him and Gunther on the mic. You wouldn't think of them, and Sammy too. You wouldn't think of that as like a trio that would bring a fiery promo because of their just style of presented promos. Sammy's the only one that really gets like hyper and emotional. Gunther is very not monotone, but like very matter of fact. And Bret's just not known for his promos. But I think the three of them did what they needed to do to make that a hot promo and set Sammy up nicely as a rival for Gunther. And also there was a little bit of realism with Gunther coming out and saying, you know, Bret Hart's my hero, but I'm gonna take this opportunity to slander him a little bit. Because Bret did go to Clash at the Castle 2022, and he got to see Gunther perform, and he had some choice words for Gunther's style of wrestling, and then Gunther went on the bump and then sent some words back at Bret, and then I'm sure it's like settled and watered under the bridge now, especially with Gunther being the champ. But it was nice to see him actually get in the ring and get to try to get under Bret's skin a little bit.
Well, and then of course he got under his skin by saying that his favorite wrestler of all time is Goldberg.
Yeah,
which was fun. That was fun. Now listen, I maintain, I think the Punk Drew use of Bret would be more interesting to me, but I totally get and thought about the fact that they would likely land on Sammy and lean into the Canadian connection.
And look, if it's Bret Hart night, right? So Punk Drew shouldn't be completely out of the question. We should get more Bret in more segments. But I can understand, like you said, if that's where they leave it.
But it seems like that's the end, no?
It does.
And just to give us a little bit of an idea of what they're doing here as we extend this Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud for another year, which by the way, I'm not complaining about. I'm into it. The longer, the better in this case. I'm not going to complain after how long I've been waiting. All right, here we go.
Well, and especially with with their match rate, it's been what, 7 months and 2 matches?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Wade, you don't. Wade.
Oh no, he's challenging Wade. It looks like
Wade.
Barrett standing up.
I have some bad news. It's going to be a very one-sided fight.
yeah.
Drew, have you lost the plot in life so bad that now it's not about CM Punk anymore? Now,
Here's my problem, guys. I know this is nitpicky. The way that they use Adam Pearce is so arbitrary.
Yeah.
Like,
Always with them.
well, I feel like is it me? I feel like Nick Aldis has like slightly more purpose than Adam Pearce.
I thought they were the same person.
It's also
similar.
because Nick Aldis is always on point. Like, if there's something even about to go down, Nick Aldis is right there to shut it down and be an authority figure. Like, nothing gets past him. Nick Aldis stands up to everybody. But yeah, with Adam Pearce, it's almost like, some people get under his skin, some people intimidate him. It's always chaos, and he shows up at the last minute with security who may or may not on that particular day be able to stop anything. Sometimes, most oftentimes, it's they're not able to stop anything.
Yeah, I wish there was a little bit of consistency to the way that they use the character, because I think that's Dip has pointed this out many times. When you have like a mage authority figure, you have this like at least this one thing that's always there for you. There's always a storyline that you can lean back into because there's this character who can interact with everybody. He can tie so many storylines together, he or she. There's so much to do there. With Pearce, it's like he's basically the anonymous Raw general manager in a body.
I still think they could have gotten a couple guys to do this that have more personality, or gals. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know what purpose they serve ultimately. I mean, anybody else could be an authority figure. I mean, why don't they just have like? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they needed to like hire someone new to be Nick Aldis. They couldn't have like anointed someone.
That's an interesting point. And like, I love that Nick and Adam Pearce, two like longtime guys in the business who are both good wrestlers, who can talk, who have a good look. They did a lot in their respective careers. In one sense, I love that WWE has a job for guys like that. In another sense, you wonder, should the job that they have be as like bookers or trainers or putting matches together, agents, and should the job that they have, as Dip is like alluding to, be sort of that of talent who's like of recent vintage who no longer has stuff to do?
I think
I assume that's what you mean, right? Like, it would be a place for the Miz to graduate to whoever that person is.
The Miz is the perfect person.
The Miz would be an excellent GM.
Like, the Miz is a GM where like he goes a year without ever wrestling at all, and you kind of forget, even you start to believe he's not a wrestler, and then he takes bumps, and all of a sudden he gets a match, and now like that's a way. Now we're getting somewhere.
Now there's a conversation being had.
Yeah. Who else exists in the orbit right now who could be a GM?
Not on Raw or SmackDown, but I feel
Eva
like
Rain. Too late, SG.
Sure.
Too late.
No, I was gonna say R-Truth could be a good GM for NXT just because they're trying a lot of new things down there. NXT gets kind of wacky.
That would be, I'll tell you what.
R-Truth would throw it into chaos every week.
I like the idea of R-Truth being the GM.
R-Truth as a GM, I mean, just the way he's good at everything, it would just be comedically good every week. Like, he could just be comedic and good. And then, like, there could be an angle, you could start working a thing where like he also gets kind of like bullied and pushed around by heels, Like, there could be a way that he's this very lovable babyface GM who mostly is doing fun things, but whatever. I'm with you. And I feel bad because I like both Nick and Adam Pearce. But the characters, because they didn't develop them into characters and because they don't come to you as previous WWE characters, it's just kind of like, oh, they look like wrestlers and they have authority.
Because that's the thing, right? Adam Pearce, I feel like, just showed up one day and then graduated to, oh, yeah, by the way, this guy who's been here running both these shows, he's actually the GM of both these shows. And then it was the same with Nick Aldis. He just came on screen one day and they said, oh, yeah, he's going to be the GM of SmackDown moving forward. So I feel like those introductions, like you said, if it were a wrestler that we saw get written out or get injured or something like that, then we'd have some introduction, some background. But it was very Jack Tunney-esque, where they would just one day like, and let's throw it to this authority figure.
Well, listen, as an 8-year-old, it worked for Jack Tunney with me. I mean, I bought it. I was in hood, blind, and sneaker.
Yeah, but we're in our 30s now.
30s?
So we are. I'm talking about me and
Oh,
Dick.
got it. That sounds nice.
We're in our 30s now.
Sounds great.
I'm changing the subject to John Cena.
No, back to John Cena.
When John Cena told us that this is going to be his quote last year, I think he means just Royal Rumble to Mania, right? Or are we seeing?
No, he said that he said many times he's doing 30 days,
and it's ending in December
from January to December. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Was that it? You just wanted to say one wrong thing about John Cena and then keep moving?
Well, I'm like, when are we getting him already? I guess I said something wrong. Yes, but when are we getting him? I mean,
January.
It's time.
January.
Yeah, Rumble.
It'll be Rumble. The only thing you had wrong is it's not Mania. It's Rumble till December.
Yeah.
Rumble
it's definitely not
December.
ending at Mania.
Which is great. I love that it's not just till Mania. That is really nice. I'm excited about that. Okay, so
I am too, honestly.
There's a lot of room to do stuff there. Did you guys see? We're going to play this audio. Dip probably missed it because he's not big on the internet, but one of the things moving around today that was fun, and we're not a big gossipy kind of show, but was Kevin Nash talking ish about Logan Paul. Dip, did you hear about this?
I did not see this.
No.
Oh, neither of you saw this?
It didn't even hit our group chat, so this is going to be.
So Kevin Nash, I forget where he did it, said on his show, on his podcast, maybe something like, I don't care how good the guy is. I don't care how many followers he is. If I'm one of the boys and Logan Paul is getting paid the money they say he's getting paid, like $5 million, and earmuffs, kids, cover the kids' ears for a second, he can go fuck himself. I don't care what he says. And if I'm one of the boys, I'm telling him he can go do that. And then, so that happened. And then later, a couple hours later, Logan Paul put this out.
I got people messaging me. They're like, yo, Kevin Nash is talking shit about you. I said, damn, who is Kevin Nash? And I mean that. I'm unfamiliar with this guy, which I think is his problem. I'm not as versed in the WWE and in wrestling as maybe I should be, as my peers are. But then how am I so much better than all of them? You know, I don't have the answers to these questions. It is a question. I don't know how I could be the best in the WWE or at least one of the best. Like, I'm surely a top fiver, and I don't even do it full time. Now imagine if I did learn a little bit. Imagine if I devoted, came one of the boys, learned what the difference between a shoot and a work was. Will that make me a champion? Fuck me. Fuck you. You're one of the old guys who is bitter that I am better at your job than you ever were. And that makes you pathetic. This will be my sport, and I will continue to make guys like you eat your words when I devote a little bit of time to it. So fuck me, fuck you.
I think Kev got to him a little bit. I think Kev hurt his feelings just a little bit.
I think, I don't know. I think I got to tell you guys, this is going to come as a surprise. I love Logan's response. That is, I know. You know why? Because I saw it get both of you mad. And that is exactly what he should be doing. He should continue to lean into, I don't do this. Be one of the boys. Yeah, right. Ha, ha, ha.
The part that was ridiculous was the who is Kevin Nash.
He knows who Kevin Nash is.
Yeah, everybody throws up the too sweet.
Well, that part
He knows who it is.
No, that
the
part.
NWO.
I imagine that
Yeah.
part was
and that was the part that me and Dip reacted to. Was like, listen, you know exactly who Kevin Nash is. Even if you want to play it as like you were the third best.
Oh no,
in the
Dip
group,
reacted more than that. Dip reacted like
whatever.
4 different times in anger. By the way, that part I assume he was lying about. When he had Hogan on the podcast, did you guys see the clip of him not knowing what a work or a shoot was?
Yeah.
So I
think he was messing around with Hogan.
He's working. It's all a work. He knows all these things. Come on, dude. He knows what a work and a shoot is, and he knows who Kevin Nash is. Everyone in wrestling knows who Kevin. All you have to do is look to your left, and his face is on one of the trucks. I mean, come on.
Right. Yeah, he knows who Kevin
They're
Nash
selling NWO merch still.
Listen,
I mean,
I presume you're right, but either
I'm
way,
right.
but who cares? I mean, what are we focusing on? It's irrelevant. I mean, oh no, I hope every word he said there had to be exactly true, or then it's not entertaining. I mean, why would the truth get in the way of a good wrestling story?
How dare him speak about Kevin Nash?
Yeah. he has no right.
No.
I thought it was pretty well done though, and I like that he did it on his own. I don't know if it's supposed to be part of anything or if it's just him going rogue.
They both went rogue. H doesn't know what to do now with both of them.
It's rogue galore.
They both went rogue. He's gonna have to put him in a room and just be like, "Yo, chill out. This is my guy."
Why would he have to do that? Who gives a shit?
There's no money to be made there.
There's no money to be made there. I'm sorry. Are we doing a wrestling podcast? There's money to be made everywhere.
Hold on.
Kevin Nash is not coming out of retirement to wrestle.
He doesn't have.
Logan Paul.
He has to come out and wrestle to make money off it. There's plenty of money to be made.
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
Why don't you have Kevin Nash come back as the GM, and and Triple H, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels do like a "we're back and we're making the matches again" type of storyline, like where you have like the Clique is back running the WWE. They're the ones pulling all the strings and making the matches.
Dude.
You want to talk about money? That is money right there.
Kevin Nash as an authority figure is so mage because no matter how old he gets, his size alone makes him so imposing.
Yeah,
even if he never wrestles, no one's talking trash to Kevin Nash.
Yeah, he's still 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he's
Triple H's best friend. He's Triple H's best bud.
Right. So it's. By the way,
got the ear. He's like, I spoke to Hunter, and
just for the record, I just want to point out, it just took us 10 seconds to come up with one thing we could do with Kevin Nash. That was just the first idea. There's who knows what else could be done. But there's as long as these guys are around and able to do stuff, I feel like SUG, there's money in like all of them. I mean, especially ones who are that big and sort of have that much of a connection. It's just how do you want to do it? Do you want to be creative? It's so funny, the Dip, that you went there, by the way, because we just spent all this time kind of like waxing about like, how do you get the GMs right? And it's like, well, you have guys out there who like are just around.
Yeah.
We do the type of stuff all the time. You take a guy like Jim Cornette, even, who like makes the internet go crazy all the time, and maybe he's too controversial, whatever. But either way, there are other people in that vein that are still around. You could throw a mic in their hand and let them do stuff.
I mean, the funny thing with Kevin Nash too is I don't know if he wants to travel, but it would be like his personality to just like come up on the big screen from an office somewhere and be like, I sent my assistant down. This is what's happening.
Easy.
Done.
He would do it. He would travel, dude. He's a mark for himself. He's also just such a carny.
Yes,
but
he's showing up.
Carney up a storm. Triple H needs to be on the show. It's like what Triple H is going to still look great for, maybe another 5 years, 10 years, at the most 5 to 10 years. Okay. It's time for Triple H to become the Vince McMahon Attitude Era character. Triple H is such an incredible promo. He is so imposing looking still. He looks more badass than he ever has. It's time to put Triple H back on screen. I want to see Triple H. I love Triple H.
And more than just the shoot press conferences, which he does a great job at. And by the way, you can still do that. That's the beautiful thing. because they've eased him into this real role now, the line will be so blurry if he becomes a TV character again, because now he's been this real thing. So you're like, wait a second, what's going on now? And by the way, Dip, we have to be on the way there. The SmackDown season premiere on USA is this week, and I just read, is this true, SGG? It's going to be 3 hours?
There is speculation because the USA Network official Twitter account tweeted out the schedule for this week's WWE week, and eagle-eyed observers noticed that on that image that they tweeted out, SmackDown was blocked for 3 hours. They had SmackDown starting at 8, and then the next bit of programming started at 11, which I believe was a rerun of The Anonymous. So people are like, hold on, is SmackDown going to be
either way? As we get into this new SmackDown situation, don't forget that moment at the kickoff to WrestleMania when Triple H and The Rock had that moment backstage. I mean, we fantasized back then, could we get to this big overarching Triple H versus The Rock story that harkens all the way back in the day, with The Rock being on the board, Triple H being in his position? I mean, don't forget, that is just sitting there to be the most fun thing ever.
Beyond.
And
Beyond.
Before we get too far into the more of the wrestling, I do have another note. They announced that starting next week, Raw is going to be 2 hours moving forward. So that's another big change. Fans have been asking for it for years. They said that third hour of Raw is tough. So it seems that at least until they get to Netflix, that third hour is going to be no more. Fans got their wish.
Well, and my guess would be it stays 2 hours once it goes to Netflix, because
that would be my guess,
because they're not going to have commercials in the same way, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I guess they'll have some form of commercials, but not the same. Not this.
That's exactly my thinking.
They're going to have breaks, and I'm sure they'll have sponsors, of course. But go ahead, Dip. Sorry.
It's time to have Stephanie McMahon back on television. I'm ready for that. It's time.
Yeah,
Stephanie needs to be the GM. It's her time. It's time to bring her back in an authority role in a real way, either with or against her husband. It's time.
Well, so
Stephanie's a great authority figure.
I don't know if she has any interest in ever doing this again. Part of me feels like she's not going to do it.
She's gonna do it.
I don't know.
She's not staying away forever.
I don't know. I think it's Triple H before it's Stephanie, but she has been showing up to stuff more. You do see Stephanie around more, so certainly it could happen. But it's going to be interesting to see if they do anything super mage for SmackDown this week. Maybe by the time we do the Patreon episode later in the week, we'll know more. But I am looking forward to that. I did want to get a little bit of time on All Out this week. SGG, did you watch?
I didn't get a chance to watch, and I'm actually looking forward to it because of the controversy around some of these matches. I want to see for myself.
Well, let me put it this way. I don't know if you saw the conversation I was having in the Discord earlier, but I was complaining about some things about the show, and someone said, what did you think of the attempted murder? And I started responding to it. And then I realized I was talking about a different attempted murder, because there were multiple attempted murders on the show. I was referring to Swerve Strickland having a syringe shoved into his cheek, an actual needle shoved into his cheek before being hit clean in the head with a chair. And they were referring to Brian Danielson being assaulted with a plastic bag, and he had a plastic bag wrapped around his mouth and nose for about 5 minutes.
Wow. 5 minutes is aggressive. I feel like you don't need that much time to get your visual off.
But I will say this, and I know you guys are watching. Do you already know what happened, SGG? I know Dip probably doesn't, but you guys both know?
I do. I know what happened.
You both know. Yeah. So the Blackpool Combat Club turned on Brian Danielson, which is something.
Yeah. It's probably going to lead to Mox Danielson at some point.
I sort of thought it was odd no one's there to come save Danielson. Like, I don't know. It feels like weird to me that no one, he's literally has a plastic bag around his face in the middle of the ring. But my biggest problem is not the attempted murders, because as much as I am a snowflake in all things politics, I am not a snowflake with my wrestling. And I don't care if there are multiple attempted murders during the course of a show. I'm not one of these people who's like, oh my God. I mean, it's wrestling. I'm good. Yes, their brand of wrestling is a little bit more adult than what we see on an episode of SmackDown. That's what I'm there for. That's why I like it. So I have no problem with the attempted murders. My problem with the attempted murders are they came at the end of just a really long night, and coming off of All In, where all the matches essentially felt consequential, this was not a night of consequential matches. The crowd was super hot for the MJF Daniel Garcia match, which started the show. Which, by the way, when I say started the show, I mean that in AEW terms, which means there were like 4 matches before the show even started, right? And then after that, though, there were a few matches in there that you're like, wait a second, why are none of these things continuations from what I just saw at All In? It
was like a clean slate for everybody.
It was a clean slate all the way through.
Except for Hangman and
Swerve, but that's still,
and also except for, I guess, Garcia
no.
and MJF.
I'm not saying they don't have any stories together. I'm sorry. I don't mean that they're clean, but no rematches? Nothing from the thing 2 weeks ago, which is like the culmination of everything. It's like having Backlash, and at your Backlash, there's no continuation from the show you just did. It's like
odd. I don't mind it though. I don't mind it.
It's too quick for a reset. 2 weeks? Slate is clean. We start over. This isn't a TV show.
You're
in that
yelling
way.
at us.
I'm
You're
sorry.
screaming at us.
He's passionate. He's passionate. Because you know why? Because he loves wrestling.
I love wrestling. I think it's great.
And he thinks it's great.
I do too.
Okay, I watched it. Me and B. Brian Mann got together on Saturday night. We ordered some wings. We shared an Oklahoma burger, whatever that is.
Okay, what was that? Did it have bacon and barbecue sauce?
No, it had fried onions. It was just fried onions.
Okay.
And a sesame seed bun. It was quite good.
Brian Mann, not a healthy eater. He'll eat anything.
Well, who am I to judge? I didn't sit there and go, hey, no, I'd rather order salads.
Right.
And Brian Mann can get away with it.
I mean, I got news for you. I got news for you, Dipperstein. I don't know I don't know if when people bring you up for a conversation, I go, Brian Dipperstein, healthy eater. That's a guy who always wants, all he ever wants to order is salad, fish,
celery sticks,
salmon. That's all we order when we're together.
Well, not when I'm with you. You're a bad influence with the crowd.
No, it's called I See You on the
Yeah, I knew you were going under the bus.
Yeah,
exactly.
You see me when I'm not home. You see me when I'm not in LA.
That's not my fault. How is that my fault? I'm seeing you on weekends. Yeah. We get sushi. But even our sushi order, even your sushi orders give me this one, give me that one. I mean, you don't get like the cucumber roll.
Because it's sushi. Sushi's tiny. You gotta go in on the sushi.
We are literally eating sushi, hot dogs, hamburgers, and pizza.
I'll have the hamburger roll. The hamburger roll. It comes with Big Mac sauce, cheese wrapped in the sushi. It is. You've never seen anything like this.
They're dipping it in Nutella. The sushi.
No, that's called the Bruce Springsteen rock and roll. It's a piece of hamburger meat wrapped in sushi with cheese, dipped in Big Mac sauce with a side of Nutella. Dip does enjoy. Let me tell you something. The man loves a fakakta roll.
Oh yeah, I love a loaded bullshit blah 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 with
listen,
on top.
Dip may not like a lot of blah blah blah. Let me tell you where the guy loves blah blah blah. Sushi. Yeah, he wants the blah 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 sushi every time. Speaking of which, I went to Bond Street for Natalie's birthday, her favorite place to go. Yeah. And
there's no blah 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 there. It's not a blah 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 place.
No, not very blah blah blah. Although, listen, whenever you get the tuna pizza or whatever, I mean, we're getting into blah blah blah. It's just really good blah blah blah.
Yes. It's fine blah blah blah.
How about this though, Dipperstein? I'm going to park the car, and It's a very foofy area where Bond Street is. There's always like little foofy things happening all over the place. And I see a foofy thing happening across the street, and there's a red carpet and people taking photos. And I think there's a parking spot right in front of where the thing is. Of course, they ended up making me leave the place. But I go pull up to where it is. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to park my car right in front of the red carpet. I don't give a damn. And as I'm pulling up, guess who's walking the red carpet? Our friend Quincy.
Wow, he's a great guy.
And I
you say hi?
I roll down the window and I go, Quincy, while he's walking the red carpet. He takes 3 more pictures. He hits his blue steel a few times, and then he jumps over the rope and comes to the car. And we had a nice little chat, me and Quincy.
He's a great guy.
Great guy.
He's another guy. I've said it.
I know.
The man's guy. He's got potential.
No, you know what I think? He should be the GM of SmackDown.
That now we're having a convo.
Great job.
Kevin Nash on Raw, Quincy on SmackDown. We have booked the whole territory.
I was going to say, put Quincy on Raw. You got to pay to see him. You got to have that.
Yeah, that's true. He's a good looking guy.
People don't even know who we're talking about.
Well, just go. I think he's at Quincy everywhere, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You know you're a big deal if you have at Quincy, for God's sake.
Yeah, he's at least like, if you say the name Quincy and people think of 3 to 5 Quincy's, he's in the top 3.
Well, there's Quincy Jones,
which we would have said Quincy Jones.
By the way, and he would have been ruled out when I said he jumped over the rope to come see me. I think God bless Quincy Jones. I don't think that's in the cards. By the way, I mean James Earl Jones. We lost.
I was going to say, speaking of the great,
we lost a great Jones today. That is, and I got to tell you, what a run. Here's why I love the run James Earl Jones had. He has been old my entire life.
And he's the Ric Flair of
and he just kept going and going and going. That's a great run where you get to the age where you go, oh, I'm a pretty old guy now. And then you have another 30-year run after that. That's a hell of a run.
Yeah. Because, wasn't Coming to America just like a thing he did just because he was like getting old and probably not going to take that many acting roles? And then, like,
I don't know, but if we look back now, he probably had 1 million roles after Coming to America.
He did Mufasa after Coming to America.
Mufasa,
and he did The Sandlot after Coming to America.
And there's such a generation of people who only know him from those things.
Yeah. No, he did so much before that.
And I got to tell you something, too. He did a really great thing for the name James Earl. Which, let's be honest, prior to James Earl Jones, the name James Earl had a really bad reputation.
It was on its way out.
Nobody wanted to be James Earl.
1 foot on the grave and 1 foot on the banana peel for that name.
And now you hear James Earl Jones, and then you hear James Earl, you don't think Ray, you think Jones.
No. Of course.
He's a hero.
You think James? I think I may name my kid that one day.
James Earl Jones?
James Earl
Jones.
James
Earl Jones.
I love the name James Earl Jones Dipperstein.
It's good.
Well, you know what you do? Just for the record, if you consider doing this, first name James, middle name Earl-Jones Dipperstein.
Or should I just think about changing my last name to James-Dipperstein? Or Jones. Jones/Dipperstein.
No, you know what you have to do? Your mom will have to leave your dad. She will have to get she'll have to keep his name, marry someone new who's Jones, and hyphenate.
Would you think Jim Jones would be?
She marries Jim Jones. She takes the Jones, adds it to the Dipperstein, so she becomes Mary Jones Dipperstein. You take her Jones Dipperstein, and then you simply name your kid James Earl, and then you're in business. It's so easy.
That's the only way to do it.
It's so easy.
That's the way. That's the way to do it.
It took us time, but we figured out a way to get there.
I think I'd rather her marry Tommy Lee Jones. That's another good Jones.
No, oh my God! How could you say that? How could you? How could you say what you just said? You love Jim Jones. He did a great job at my wedding. And you would have her. Oh, Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
who are you picturing?
I was picturing Tommy Lee.
No. Tommy Lee Jones.
You know what, Tommy Lee?
Can I tell you though?
Men in
And by the
Black.
way, Tommy Lee Jones did really great work for the name Tommy Lee.
He definitely did. Although I gotta say, when I was younger and that sex tape dropped, I was picturing Tommy Lee Jones every time somebody mentioned Tommy Lee.
I love stories like that because it's such little kid thinking. And like in your brain, it makes sense. You're like, wow. You were like, wow, Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee Jones from Men in Black, huh?
Because he was either about to do Two-Face or he had done Two-Face.
That's pre Men in Black. Yeah, that's the beginning.
So I knew Tommy Lee Jones from the Batman. I was like,
do you think
Baywatch?
Do people
Tommy Lee Jones?
Are you both of the age? Dip's weird because his social and culture age is much older than his number age. But are you two of probably the last age of people who realized that John Travolta was dead as a doornail before Pulp Fiction? Like, do you think people younger than you realize that, like, the reason that movie was a big deal was because, like, oh my God, John Travolta's back? Or do you guys not even remember it in that way?
I didn't even realize.
No, I mean, I knew that now because who I am.
Oh, you don't remember it. You're too young. You were 5 years old.
Pulp Fiction was 94.
Yeah, you were 5. It was such a big deal.
7.
Wait, no. Oh, you're 87? 7. Natalie's 89. The Travolta coming back was such a big thing. And it's also funny because people just consider Samuel Jackson to be Samuel Jackson. But he was random jabroni plus until Pulp Fiction.
He was.
They both, their careers essentially, Travolta's reborn. I mean, they were both reborn because Samuel had been around for a long time.
He had, like, Samuel Jackson was also coming to America.
But think about his role in Coming to America versus where he was 7 years later after Pulp Fiction. Anyways, this is why you have to listen to the show. We do so many things. Real quick, before we get out here, couple matches have been made for Bad Blood. We have Liv Morgan now versus Rhea Ripley for the World Championship. So that answers the question that we were getting. Where are they going to go with that title? Well, Liv's going to have to defend it against Rhea at Bad Blood.
Is there a stipulation involved?
No,
or is it just
not
a straight
yet. Singles match. They also officially made tonight Damian Priest versus Finn Balor.
Nice.
CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Hell in a Cell.
That was the only way they could go.
Braun Breaker versus TBD. Is that TBD probably being done right now as we're speaking?
It's the T is being D'd right now. They're introducing.
Okay.
They're introducing the competitors for the Fatal 4-Way right now.
All right, so we do have what looks like.
Who's in the Fatal 4-Way?
Pete Dunne, Ilya Dragunov, Braun Strowman, and the favorite Jey Uso. But they lean so heavily into the
favorite,
the Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker, Steiners versus Anoa'i next generation thing that I don't think that it's going to.
By the way, slap that. So you have that match that's going to get made. You have Sammy Gunther, which will be made.
Yeah, because we didn't even talk about how the culmination of that promo, Sammy Gunther and Bret Hart, was Gunther disrespecting Bret, trying to leave the ring, Sammy calling him back to the ring, but then he goes back because Bret calls him a coward, and Sammy just put the paws on him to prevent Gunther from putting the paws on Bret.
But no match made officially.
No match made officially yet.
Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are just utility guys at this point.
No, not no.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't want to.
I could see you say that about KO, but that is just very disrespectful to the year Sammy's had so far and Sammy's previous year, where like he leaves the bloodline. People want him to beat Roman.
But he's the in-between main event guy.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying about them being the in-between main event guys. I also think there's two things. I think KO is going to probably get Cody at Bad Blood. I don't know where else they're going to go.
I think but it had to be heel KO though. I don't.
Or we get no Cody. Maybe no Cody.
No, in Atlanta has to be.
Again.
All right.
He has to be in Atlanta. There's no way. So no, maybe we get heel KO this week.
Cody's been staking out the arena for weeks. Hashtag kayfabe only. Don't you?
Yeah, he's been with Metro Boomin staking out the whole arena. So,
Oh,
In
yes.
fact, the last wasn't the last promo him being like, "It's time," and then they finally leave the car.
so he can't now just walk. You know, but I changed my mind and go home.
Yeah.
And will there be any bloodline at Bad Blood?
I feel like there has to be.
So this could be a big week. The SmackDown this week should be big. We should. And
Yeah,
didn't
we
they
should get an
already
appearance from
announce?
Roman.
Didn't they already announce a match for this SmackDown?
I don't believe they did.
No.
I don't believe they did. But I mean, if it's going to be 3 hours, right, then they have a lot more room to play with. So I mean,
Yeah, it's official.
that means
How
Roman
dare you,
could show up.
SGG? Shame on you.
Oh my god!
Shame. No. Shame on you. Solo Sikoa versus Cody in a steel cage on Friday.
Oh yes, that was made official last week.
That's a big one.
When
Something big got made.
when Cody challenged Jacob Fatu, and then Solo was like, "No, you can't have the match," and then sent them back, and Solo took it.
Which, by the way, does speak to my point that I made a few weeks ago of I think they're going to make the Jacob Fatu thing bigger than the Solo thing. If they're going to give us the Solo in the cage on Friday.
I'm here for it, baby. I love that guy.
By the way, I want to tell you guys something. And I always fear these days I'll say something and it'll get like reported somewhere. I heard, this is just stuff that I heard, but like, and maybe this is fully out there by now. Jacob Fatu, I just worked everyone with the foot. It was all just from the show. And then he was showing up places wearing the boot. He's you know what? He's like a real wrestler. This guy's like
he loves it.
He's doing the thing.
I don't doubt it because listen, that family, they take this very seriously.
That's what I heard. So, I heard that he showed up. People saw him with the boot. I think he even went to the PC with the boot. He was moving around. But as you see from the way he's working, I think it was all just part of the story and him selling it from the beginning.
Let's remember, right? When he attacks Roman with the boot, he's running at full speed.
Exactly.
He's super kicking Roman with the boot foot.
Correct.
Like,
so yeah,
it splashes.
I don't think I'm speaking out of school when I can say it looks like a work. But like that day, the way he sold it, it looked so.
But you don't know for sure it's a work. You don't know
for sure. No, I don't. But if you think about what the point of it was, he had been made so dangerous, he could not be physically in the ring while Cody was doing what Cody did. I'm sorry, while Roman was doing what Roman did. He couldn't be. So they had to have him look so injured that he was not able to get up. Otherwise, you're ruining the prospect of future Roman Fatu stuff.
Right.
It's awesome. I love that guy.
Oh yeah, he's made. He's already a big star, but there's something going on.
No, there's something going on. Speaking of which, there'll be something going on this Friday. We'll drop another Patreon episode in a few days. Patreon.com/StayMage. Go listen to our wonderful episode going down memory lane with Monday Night Raw. And also catch the episode later this week. We'll get you ready for SmackDown. Hey, guys, do me a favor and stay mage this week.
Yeah, you should too.
Enjoy yourselves.